Welcome back to Donahue. Are women getting a free ride in life? What about in the workplace? Promotions and jobs set aside for women. But in paid maternity leave, do men get the same? Peter Alamano is New York president of the Coalition of Free Men. You think women actually have it easier on the job, and you think that's hurting men. Make your case, Peter.
Well, I am primarily concerned about three issues, which have been brought to bear in my mind concerning the difference between men are treated and the difference between women. Right. Number one concerns the emotional expressiveness that we permit women in the workplace. To give you one example, I work as a secretary, and I've had about a 20-year career in various law firms here in New York City. One evening, there was a female associate late at night in the word processing center who burst into tears because her job had been fouled up. The entire staff rushed forward with enormous emotional support for this woman. Had it been a man, the folks would have recoiled in horror. What's wrong with him? Is he kind of a wimp? Right. Is he not tough enough to be working in this place?
Every time I start to cry at work, the office just empties. Like, boom, I look up and I'm all alone. But you're serious, aren't you? You think that we ought to be able to be as expressive as women and not penalized for it?
As recently as 150 years ago here in New York City, it was not that unusual for two men to go walking down the street holding hands together. This is an option that is available to women. It doesn't mean something in particular. The way it means for two men to do that, that means they're boyfriends. Why can't we have this warm camaraderie that women have? Right. Another example, at the office, I was riding up the elevator recently, and two women who had been working late at night were tired, massaging one another on the shoulder. One leaned forward and rested her head against the head of the other one. This warm camaraderie and mutual tactile support. Men. Something is wrong with me. Third issue concerns dress issues. At the law firms where I have worked over the years, we've had dress codes. I'm wearing a typical man's business suit. Right. What am I allowed to expose? My hands, the upper part of my neck, not the lower part, and my face. What is wrong with my body compared with a woman's body that she's allowed to wear a low-cut neckline with a little bit of cleavage showing, her entire arms if she cares to, and an itty-bitty-witty teeny-tiny mini-skirt that covers as much as a strip of toilet paper wrapped around her hips. Stiletto high-heeled shoes, makeup and hair down this way, which makes her look as though she's going to a cocktail lounge as opposed to a workplace.
She's not a senior partner, though, right?
Some of them are. You'd be surprised.
Gloria! You know, are you going to come and help the man out? He's making some points here.
Well, I think you should feel free to express yourself to the extent that it's appropriate in whatever setting you happen to be in. And because I think that would be better for men. I mean, I think, frankly, the men who are most dangerous to women are the ones who are stuck in rigid roles, in stereotypes, where they feel they can't express themselves. Yes. Male chauvinism, for example, is dangerous. Generally, batterers are people who are male chauvinists who can't express themselves or feel they can't, except through violence against women.
And so
we die feel free to cry. It's better. It's safer for women. It's better. You're going to have a longer life.
We agree here. This is very good.
We agree here, except for one thing. All of the research shows that men and women initiate domestic violence at exactly the same rate. So if it's one type of man who's doing the violence, it's one type of woman, too.
You mean wives are just as violent as husbands?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. All of the research
right here, in the back row. Yes, ma'am.
At the beginning of the show, we're surveyed if we think it's easier or as easy to be a woman, but we're not surveyed as to whether or not it's harder to be a woman. Women are still doing most of the work at home. We're pulling our weight in the workforce. Right. We're doing most of the child care. I applaud men who want to be 50-50 in child care and home care. That's not the norm still. And women live in fear on the street and in our homes. Growing up, in our relationships, women live in fear.
I see your ring. You're a married woman.
Yes, I am.
And happily so, obviously.
I'm married to a great feminist.
You are.
Yes, I am.
So you share, then.
Absolutely.
Really? Well, we're looking for your book.
There's not very
We'll get you up here.
There's not very many.
Right.
Phil,
this is the husband with whom you. That's good, because we'd have another story if this wasn't your husband. It's a shame he doesn't know how to speak. But we'll have him back on another program.
Phil,
yes, Warren, please.
Let's get something clear here. It is true that women work more in the home. Women work 11 hours per week on the average more than men do inside the home. But what we don't hear is the flip side of that coin, that men work 17 hours more per week on the average outside of the home. Well, and so that needs to be elaborated. All the housework studies don't look carefully. Think about what's happening now. Men usually put up the Christmas tree. Men will go out to shovel the snow. Men, we have a lot.
Poor baby, they're saying. Poor baby. Yeah, maybe we should massage your back, or your arms are tired here.
Phil,
I see your point. It is true. One other point, if I could just say
Who's
that.
dying on the job? The woman who's folding the clothes and taking care of the child, or the man who's in a mine or is dangling from a building or working construction?
Right.
Men are dying on the job. They're taking longer.
Those are fewer and fewer jobs
Their
like
jobs
that,
are away from family,
Yes.
away from the support of family. It strains their mental health.
Briefly.
They commit suicide 4 times more.
Yes, Warren.
We say that men earn more than women do for the same work. Men do earn more than women do for 25 different behaviors at work. More hazardous jobs, more commuting, more hours in the job, that type of thing.
I tell you what, I think it's going to get worse in the global marketplace, because women are now more hireable all over the world, to be sure, at rates that aren't of pay that are not fair. But nevertheless, it's the guy who is much less employable than is the woman. We'll be back in just a moment.